excited. Yeah, I've never been to Play Expo before, never been to Blackpool before, so it's a bit of a double whammy. Yeah, like really impressed with how busy it is, like how kind of chill it is at the same time. It's a bit of a contradiction almost, but like no one's like leery or no one's like, you know, there's no stress. Everyone's really calm and nice and pleasant. But it is early on Saturday afternoon. It could all change. You know, when the sun goes down, who knows? I mean, I've sat on panels and asked questions of other people. It's very unusual to be the other way around. Like in my career, I was usually interviewing folk, not anyone asking me anything. Not in a kind of very public space anyway. So no, it was great. Like really nice to meet the other guys. Really nice to see so many people come along and listen to us mostly talk about, like, you know, very specific childhood memories. It was great. I mean, that's a very succinct way of saying it, but no, I mean, I love digging into kind of, like, not, I mean, people say like weird and wonderful and stuff, but you know, all the kind of side stories to like the history of games as we're told it. Like the history of games as the internet tells it typically is very American with a little smattering of Japanese, right? And these kind of tabletop games, yeah, they did go to America, obviously a lot of them came from Japan, but in a weird way, they feel kind of ours a little bit, do you know what I mean? There's something quite British and European about like just like how, or maybe it's our own connections with like Argos and Index, and I can't remember what the other one, someone say the Freeman's catalogue on the panel. I think Jason was showing his age a little bit more there. But yeah, it's just been a treat to kind of look at the sort of a shorter history running parallel to the way that arcade games were moving into the home. You know, if you look back at like what the VCS was doing with those very ropey arcade ports, you know, rather than try and strictly emulate the arcade, these VFD and other games were just trying to like offer a version of it that maximized the potential of that format, if you will, of that platform without like trying to be the spit of the arcade. So I think that's just really interesting in and of itself. And just shows that like, there's greater depth to like some of these catalogs or some of these histories that people might not know about, like all the Sega licensed stuff, the Konami licensed stuff. Obviously Nintendo are very well known for Game & Watch, but like, do many people know they did those 4 tabletop Game & Watch games? Not so much. So yeah, it's been really, really interesting. I don't know, like it was interesting seeing like the reaction to Zaxxon earlier and the way that Zaxxon has the double VFD screen in it. So that was very unusual. That's a bit of a premium one. So just seeing solutions, I mean, even the Nintendo ones we mentioned there, the way they're running off a mirror. So they're not VFD, they're kind of LCD, but like, so it's lit from above, right? You have to have natural light or, you know, light coming into the unit. And the way that works, where like the screen is technically the opposite of what you're seeing, like the kind of like again, like the technical obstacles that people had to overcome to like create these experiences is actually really, really interesting. Because it is a little bit more, you know, it's not in the software, it's in the hardware, it's in the device. So that's just, yeah, really interesting. Probably not one that you push right up against your face. Yeah. I suppose so. I mean, you know, modern VR being the way it is, you're just simply not going to get those experiences. It'd be amazing to kind of have a version of those experiences in, you know, a Quest or a PS VR 2 or something, you know, and it be like that experience to the extent where maybe you could have like, I don't know, because you have a sensor on the VRs now, like maybe if you put your hand over the top, it like makes it darker or something. So you could probably, you know, with the right programming, you could definitely do that. But I mean, what was touched upon in the panel, and you know, kind of what you're getting is that kind of like distinct, individual, dedicated system, like just that expands from Tomitronics through some of the LCD games right through to these VFD games. And I don't know, like people just want more for their money all the time, right? Games aren't worth as much as they used to be, and as much as like nowadays people will grumble and moan about paying $60 a game or whatever, or £60 a game. Where's this going out? You know, it's hard. I know. I'm looking. Keeping one eye on all these lovely machines. But no, what was I saying? I don't know. I think the kind of like that era of dedicated electronic toys probably behind us. If you did one of those Tomitronics now, like an anniversary edition or something, it'd have to have like all the games on it, and it'd have to run like crisper than ever before. A bit like the Game & Watches do now, right? You know, where it's like, here's all the Mario games or all the Zeldas. Yeah, I've definitely thought about those kind of missing link pieces of hardware and how like if you could do something that was like a super, I don't know how you do it, like limited run or whatever. It's like, what was it? I'm going to forget now. The Panther, wasn't it? Atari were developing the 32-bit Panther, was it, before the Jaguar? And like then they could only go with one or the other. I've probably got that name wrong now, haven't I? I'm going to be ripped apart. Yeah. But they were developing a 32-bit system. And, you know, it was being planned. A bit like the kind of the Sega console with 32X built into it. Like, there was a little bit in my brain that goes like, wouldn't it be great to see like actual working versions of that, and like they manufacture some, but the market in there, like, you know, we can talk about it and fantasize about it a little bit, but realistically, who's buying that? You know, a few thousand people around the world. You know, they're lovely to think about, but they'd be like home projects, right? You know, make it in your garage kind of thing. Well, definitely Puck Monster. I know I talked about that already, but that was my favorite as a kid. Frogger as well, big favorite as a kid. Frogger connects back to the first game I remember playing, which was Hopper, which was like a ZX Spectrum. I think it was another thing as well. I played it on the Spectrum, like a Frogger clone. So that just kind of gameplay, I was like, yeah, brilliant. Obviously Astro Wars, Firefox we had knocking around. People were talking about like, you know, when you bring the games in on the last day of school. So there was definitely a few grandstand games there. So yeah, I mean, Puck Monster is one I go to, but there's a few other of the bigger names, I suppose. The Bambino ones, not so familiar with until this book, absolutely not. And then some of the other ones like Pengo, for instance, like the ones you just didn't really get here. So like finding out more about those has been great. I mean, as much as possible, the kind of experience of playing the game on that hardware, you know what I mean? So it's like, how, you know, I talked about joystick travel earlier on, you know, the boring stuff, but like, where's the bite point on a joystick? When does it actually move? Like, how does that button depress? What's the noise it makes? Like, does the battery cover come off really awkwardly? Do bits go missing? Do bits pop off? You know, that kind of like actual experience of like owning a product and owning that thing and going through stages of your life where you lose bits or whatever it is. Like, just the physical interaction that people have with them, I think, is really important. And that's what obviously forms memory. Because otherwise, you know, we're talking about like, kind of option paralysis with modern gaming. And I think because of the digitalization of it, you don't have that like, here's the thing I'm sitting down with for a period of time, I've committed this. You know, you talk about music on the panel, like the way that you used to like, okay, I'll put a record on and I'm going to sit there until side A finishes, get up, go over and turn it over. And now like, well, you wouldn't do that. You just like click, 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 click. So yeah, it's yeah, I lost my train of thought there a little bit thinking about records. That's not the first time that's happened. This is my boy right here, Puck Monster, big fan. CGL, so CGL is the European branding for Gakken, so that was also Frogger down here, officially Konami licensed. Star Force, a little bit like kind of spiritual sequel, I guess, to Astro Wars, which is like the really popular one. You can't see boxing, it's behind my pint, but yeah. So these kind of Bambino ones, right? These are quite interesting. They have very narrow screens, you can see at the top there, and they were all kind of like sports things. There was a football one, there's boxing. I have a feeling there was a tennis one as well. Lots and lots of fun stuff going on. Oh, here's Amadar right here, so you can see the same. I've got to be careful with these ones, I know what they're worth. Yep. And we had a bit of fun on the panel talking about Afterburner. So what Afterburner is, well, it's got the big Sega license here. It's got this tiny little LCD screen at the top, where basically that's where all your action is. So very showy, but not particularly fun to play. And then you got a great example of one of the Coleco, again, officially licensed Miss Pac-Man, with the two joysticks, so you can have simultaneous two-player play, which is pretty cool. What else we got over here? Some interesting ones, so like things like Maniac are kind of in the Simon Says kind of mold. Atomic Pinball down here, amazing. Alien Tack, that's really interesting as well because it has the landscape screen rather than a portrait screen. Again, lots of chasing around. It's like a, sort of a maze game, but not. So Grandstand Scramble here. Oh my goodness. So this is a shooter, much like Konami Scramble, but it's not actually Konami Scramble. There you go. Diddly. Well, it's turned on. Let's have a look. Yeah, so you can kind of see, I mean, well, I'm not going to start playing it with one hand, but yeah, it's not the Scramble of the Konami arcade. That did come out as Scramble, fully licensed, and also was called Rambler, and also Alien, I want to say Alien Attack as well, something to that effect.
whole load here.
There's loads. This is a good one just before we go, though, because this is Bandai's Galaxian, right? But you'll notice it's got no official licensing on it anywhere. It's just Bandai calling their game Galaxian, because why not? Nice bit of fun there. And yes, many more, including Donkey Kong over there that's being played quite vigorously. I try my best, yeah. Oh, wait. Because like these kind of like Bandai, the FL stands for fluorescent, obviously. Well, obviously, you know. And yeah, these kind of ones, there's quite a few like made in this kind of modeling, and they're just lovely. So that's Pengu's obviously the Sega game. You can see on the back here, it's Japanese. You know, this didn't come over to the UK so far as I know. Lots of pushing icy blocks into enemies until they all die. Because why not? Yeah, it's great. One more. So here we have Tomi's Kingman. Now, can you guess what game Kingman is ripping off? Not from No Screen, I guess, but it's Donkey Kong. It's Donkey Kong in a different name. So again, lots of clones of things going on. Fun times for all involved. Fun times for nascent legal departments. To get hold of this book, please back us on Kickstarter, obviously. Find it on Kickstarter, from Coin Op to Tabletops. Throw some money at it. I'll be very grateful. Chris will be very grateful. Numskull will be really grateful. And the community will be really grateful as well. First time we've ever done anything like this. So yeah, your support is much appreciated.